Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. We're going to be continuing our programming today. We're going to see how far into actual inventory work we can get, because after the stream, I decided to go back and unfail my inventory attempt. We tried low-level collision and visual updating, but that didn't work, so we bumped up back to the upper level of the Godot node structure. I do see that we have Erebus and Squinnick with us already. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome. It was a little late starting because I was looking at the code and like I could tweak that real quick, get it ready, and then I realized it had hit start time. Oh. Yeah, I think that's going to be what's next on our schedule too, Squinnick, is we're going to get into Deltarune, finish Chapter 1, head into 2, and, see where we go. What's your fun fact, Erebus? Alrighty. So just showing it at the moment, it's not scaled to the right size, but you can see a bunch of purple dots down here. That is the inventory, and clicking it does give me an event that tells me which row and column that I clicked on. This is important. Okay. So now when we generate our inventory squares, we need a function to generate the content. So we're going to update the content zone. Hey there, Tatum. Welcome. I was not aware of that, Erebus. I know there is a Lua language. It's a scripting language, which was the upper data level and interaction level of Noida. Lower level was a C++ custom engine, but there was Lua script. A new cat, you say, Tatum? What does it look like? Okay, so this is where we generate all of the squares. Int in their inventory dot entities size. Black and orange with a bit of gray. That sounds like either a tortoiseshell or a diluted pattern. Does it have white as well? Sounds like diluted. That's the coloration that Ember has. And fire away with those facts. Your inventory. I also want to have a superclass for all of the objects that can be in the inventory, except for entities. Entities are going to be a special case. That's how it goes, Erebus. You're gonna feel like you don't know anything about coding probably forever. But you will acquire the knowledge. It will rub off on you as you go. Kind of like a, is it like a big plush beanbag chair or like a donut? This giant human targeted dog bed. Okay, so the rows and columns, this is the first element in each row. Then these will be the subsequent ones, and these will come after. Huh. Not a name that strikes me as incorrect, and camera one's misbehaving. I do like reading Erebus. I read a lot of light novels. They're fun and light, haha. Hello, Donnie. Welcome. Occasionally manga. I find difficulty with manga is cost to narrative content ratio is usually not good. How did I do this with the icons? I'll add square. Okay, we don't have the squares in an array. You will get omnibus manga like that, where they jam a whole bunch of them together. I don't recognize that acronym, Donnie. Oh, Berserk. Yeah, I've read Berserk. Okay, Squinnick, have a good day. Thanks for joining us. It's good. I'm looking forward to / concerned what they'll do with the rest of it now that the artist died. I don't like the newer Berserk animes, because they tried to do 3D models and failed. The older ones are good, but they stop at the moment that you'd expect them to stop. And it always feels like the content went too far for them. Alternately, they didn't want to commit to, or they weren't getting the ratings, but I feel like the point that they stop is usually when the content takes a very particular turn. Demon Slayer. I've only seen a part of the first episode of Demon Slayer. I liked the art, but I haven't watched it. A lot of fighting anime of that nature, the kind of action battle anime, don't hold my attention for very long. One Piece did, but I liked the characters up front, but it became a sunk cost fallacy kind of scenario. Well, here's hoping that the artist's friend there, Erebus, can capture the style and the narrative, because it really is coming to a head. Okay, so we want to store the squares in a corresponding array. Oops, just an array. And we'll prep it here. So this will create a single null item. How are we going to arrange them? When we initially create them, I think this is an opportunity to set up the squares collection. Yeah. So squares. I is equal to that. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Here's I 0 is equal to. We need to return the square here. So, for those of you joining us, we are making a game, a Vampire Survivor style game. Oh, this is a little different. So, the first dimension of the array is the column. I'm sorry, which row? So that's should be like that. Okay. There. So it's technically which column and then the row, but you know, we're doing YX on the array. Um, uh, it just bothers me to do it that way. It'll do. It'll do. Let me check the player inventory to make sure that I'm not breaking convention here. Need entities. Thanks, Steven. Good opportunity. I did not call out where the cats were at the start of the stream. So the one that you could see is Ember. She's my smallest cat and a little sweetheart. The one on the big pillow is Mason. The one passing through the upper right corner of one of the cameras is Sammy. Not visible are Sky and Sherbet. Hey there, Marson. Is it Markin? Let me know. Okay, we're doing an XY. We'll stick to it. We'll stick to it. Row, column, row. Okay, XY. Now we go into add square. And we're going to make this return an inventory square. The inventory square, and square is equal to there are times when the Godot engine is trying to be helpful and it's so frustrating. Okay, now we have the corresponding square IDs here and the corresponding square array. How long have I been a streamer? A few years at this point. Going on several. I have 5 cats, Erebus. Tory Square. Texture is equal to entities icon. I remember somebody using that name, and that they changed their name. That is all. Sky, Ember, Mason, Sherbet, and Sammy. Sammy is on my lap right now. We're going to have to do the same if structure no matter what. B equal to catalog, get icon. B catalog icon blank. Not texture. Hey, CyberGhost. And by the way, folks, if you notice that if you can't see the person that I am talking to in the chat that you're in, they are in one of the other two chats. We are streaming 2 streams on YouTube, a tall stream and a wide stream, and the wide stream on Twitch as well. If you're in the tall stream, there's a link to the wide stream for YouTube. Sammy and Ember are female. The others are males. Okay, put that there. If there is a square. No. This. Hey there, Starry Night. Welcome. Seems like you're able to get to the stream a little more often lately. Taking a moment to pet Sammy, and camera 1 is misbehaving, so... Any amount is greater than 0, Starry. Okay, so it is not entities now, it is... I don't remember in particular, Demon. That's always nice, Starry. I have some music for my stream that I had been using, but it was getting copy claimed. Copy claimed for tracks that were completely different. Since I didn't want to bother with that, I didn't want to risk ruining a whole stream. As far as the VOD, I switched to this, which is controlled by a kind of a licensing group. And they police it instead of me trying to police it. Ember has come up on my shoulder. Which cat is the cuddliest? Ember is the cuddliest in general and the most demanding about it. Sammy and Sherbet, I think, are kind of tied now in different ways. Sammy demands to sit right on my lap, like across both legs. And Sherbet demands to sit between my neck and the headrest of the chair. Ember will crawl all over me unless I hold her in a very particular way. Mason will demand to lay his whole underbelly up onto my shoulder and be held exactly like that. Very particular about it. And Sky will sometimes sit across my lap, though much more rarely. They all have their little idiosyncrasies. Okay, so we know that J starts at 1. So we'll iterate over it that way. Okay. I'm sorry, the portion of the row that is positioners. This part is why we want to change over to a primary inventory object. Sherbet and Sammy will just kind of walk to their spot to get attention. If I try to ignore Sammy after acknowledging her, she will try to haul on my keyboard hand. And she never lets me trim her claws without a great deal of fight. So she puts her whole weight into it and kind of hangs on my arm. It's very stabby. Sherbet just sits up there. He's warm and fuzzy, so it's kind of cute. So I reward him. Ember will get right up in my face. Sky will get right up in my face to demand attention. Mason kind of gets up there in my face, but it's more like he does that slow kind of kneading thing on my lap and then tries to walk up on my shoulder and will keep looping around back to the start of the process if I don't hold him. Okay, no, but it needs to be movements J and this K. And it is 6 in that it starts. Hey there, Annabelle. Movements. Oh, okay. This is what we're missing. Six plus K. That should be it. So then we update contents after we create the squares. Six. It's not quite right. So we're going to get 0, then 1. We go to 6. Yeah, it's 10. This part isn't right. So this is just 0. This is... That's to 6, because it'll be 1 through 5. And then 6 here. This is inclusive to exclusive. Start here, stop before. So this will be the numbers 1 through 5. This will be the numbers 6 through 10. Yes. Okay. We should be setting these here. So we add all of the squares, and we've set them. Yeah, hey there, Drew. Sometimes in Terraria, common ways of building a base can get you in a circumstance where, like, they can attack you right where you respawn. And it can be hard to get out of there. My general base building patterns have been originally were set up to prevent that kind of scenario, but also to prevent destruction by clown, back when the clowns could break blocks. Yep. Teleport around and strike through walls. And oh. No. Add the square. And here the square has been set to have let's move the blank texture. All the way up here. This. Then positioners, then movement objects. So when we trigger ready, that. Hey there, PSS. Welcome. Trying to figure out why this is failing. Okay, so we're going to go to here, and then we're going to go to here. Survival game? I've been playing some V Rising lately. Enjoyable. The problem I have with a lot of survival games is that one, the rate of food consumption and the like tends to be tedious. Like, you're constantly like eating an entire pig multiple times a day in order to keep yourself topped up. The other is that many of the resource costs for building are geared towards having very large community servers, which I don't like playing on. Now, many of these games do have sliders and options for speeding that kind of thing up, which I use in order to make them tolerable. But the gimmicks often aren't interesting, because add to that many of them culminate with a focus on PvP, which I don't find enjoyable. Minecraft is interesting, but it does wear out. I've seen Grounded played, but I haven't ever played it. It is an interesting one. There is a kind of guided target, and it isn't targeted towards big community servers. So it interests me, but I haven't played it. And hello, Cheesy. Okay, so we get to here. Now, squares, which is a overall array, should have 6 rows, and each row is 11 and has a square object in it. In theory, we can't see inside nested arrays for reasons. Sorry, we can't see all the way in. Yeah, we'll load that up in just a moment. So then we're going to hop in to here. Now, wait a minute. Why did we leap out of that? Globals, player inventory. Player inventory is not initialized. Why are you not initialized? Should be getting initialized very early. So that's why this is not acting here. Concurrent viewers are a different metric, that's why. They mean very different things. Okay, so the game object, why is the game object being initialized before the player inventory object? There is a notification as long as notifications are turned on for subscribers, but not all subscribers want to watch a live at the time it is live, or can. Okie doke, Erebus. Thanks for joining. Okay, so let's look at player inventory. Well, that's why we have no ready on player inventory. We initialize it. We clear them. But we should have one. Oh, but we don't at the time. We don't at the time. Okay. It would need to be after. I would leave that to your opinion, official. I'm more of a droid with cat features. Hey there, sleepyhead. Cat ears and a heavy tail. So once we add a weapon, we build the weapons. But the inventory would need to know that that changed. We're working on getting the inventory displayed and mirrored to the content. That is one of my 5 cats, official. That one is Mason. Let's see how many cameras are behaving and how many we can see. Let's see, we're on stream 57 or 58? 58. So 58 streams. So we can see 3 of them. Ember is across from the keyboard. She's the little pale colored one. Mason is the tan one on the pillow. And Sammy is the tuxedo, the black and white one, over on the shelf. The collision zone. We need to make sure that they're initialized. So in-game ready. As our enemy, we're going to do player inventory initialize. So we're going to add the squares, but we're not going to update the contents yet. And then the inventory can raise a signal whenever it is changed. What you gonna start with, Sleepyhead? I wouldn't necessarily considering calling somebody a furry enthusiast a insult there, Cheesy. I would say that there are many people that consider it derogatory. And that's why I generally leave it up to that person's opinion when they say that, because that person may follow up an answer of things like yes or no with assertions of their opinion. Signal. Tory changed. It has no parameters. So whenever we clear whenever we add a weapon or initialize, we are going to this might be an issue. We'll see. So it's going to be inventory changed, emit. And then so we're creating a signal. A signal in Godot is an event that other objects can subscribe to. That's an interesting path, a good ambition there, Sleepyhead. The snake game could help you get used to the rendering process and kind of game state and the like. Then a farming sim is a much larger undertaking, so it can leverage some of the stuff you previously learned and then has a nice, healthy design mentality. Not yet, Lunar, not yet. Welcome. So we emit the inventory change signal, and also we're going to emit that every time we add a weapon. Add a positioner. We're going to need one for movement as well. This adds it into the first available positioner slot, which is fine. In positioners. Okay, so we have logic that is going to add movement, add positioner. Now, whenever we add one, we just slam it into the first socket that's available. You never know, some of your suggestions get through, Lunar. Okay. So then we need in the inventory, in ready, we populate it out, we set up our squares collection, and then we're going to have add square. Okay, we connect that thing's signal to our function. So at the end of ready, we are going to subscribe to that event. Inventory changed connect to on inventory changed. Initialize the player inventory, that will cause it to change. Then whenever we add weapon, we should also get an inventory changed. So we go to here, we have no weapons or content. And as of this moment, we're not fully in yet. This is us initializing the player inventory object, which is happening right away. Hello, Andrew. So we initialize our collections here. Entities, weapons, our positioners. Okay. Now we build the weapon out. And we should now have actual weapon in this. Plate spawn point, no positioners. Just has movement types. So then we emit this. On. Swid. Okay, we have the mouse there now. We still have the blank squares in the wrong position. So I suspect they're stacking on top of each other strangely. I'm going to go to add square. Interestingly, Cheesy, there are different ways, like different tools for game engines do actually have, often have ways to compile that can make them web friendly. Like, I know Unity can, I think Godot can compile it into essentially a web page. Yeah, you could. You could build a custom engine, essentially, using JavaScript in Canvas. I would advise against trying to start with a custom engine for your learning purposes. That is an extra layer of complexity. Grab Unity or something like Unity Godot. I'd suggest Godot. What kind of car, Pete? We create the square, we set its XY. Oh. Oh. That's different. The positioning is different. That's why. Wow. There are enough words in that name, Pete, that even with my complete lack of knowledge of cars, I suspect that's a really impressive car. Car names, I think, have the inverse property of fantasy magical items. Fantasy magical items are more impressive and scary the fewer words they have in their name. We're getting there, Tass. I just discovered that the way that I am rendering the squares is a little off. It's a little off. What is the meme? There is a D&D meme that is like Dark Lord, Shadow Gods, Razor of Death does sound impressive. You don't want to be hit by that. But nobody wants to be struck by the Throngler. Okay, so the square's XY position is actually inverse of what we're dealing with here. Not quite, but it's lined up properly. Yeah, we can see all of the rows now. But we need... It can be, Pete. I wouldn't say that doing something like that to get the compliments is necessarily healthy, but I do respect the idea that it's nice to feel that people appreciate. It's nice when people appreciate your successes. That you feel like there's somebody that is happy with the idea that you're doing well. Okay. So right now the problem is that the XY of the squares of the inventory are like it's a two-dimensional array, so it's which row are we talking about, which array are we talking about, and then what cell in that array. But that doesn't actually line up to the grid as far as translating that directly into XY coordinates. The character avatar will be different based on which character it is. We're starting with just the catbot. I do have some thoughts of adding more, but we're just going to make the one for the time being. Okay. Square x is equal to square y times 15. Square y equal to square x times 16. Excellent. Now we need to scale it up. So if we go into inventory and we set its scale to 6. That's not quite right. Okay, that's too big, but we can see it. That's okay. What are you referring to, Pete? A renter or what of what? I'm not an artist myself. Um, the game and its sprite art are kind of the limits of my artistic capability. I can doodle and scribble, art wise, otherwise. Crafting system, we're actually approaching that. We're actually approaching that. Link icon dot. Seeing if we can modulate the color on this thing. Um, well, the type of game was decided arbitrarily, Cyber. I do like Vampire Survivors style games. I've tried a lot of them. So I figured that's a very straightforward objective structure. And then the. I also enjoyed playing at the time a game called Noida. And I liked the way that you could customize weapons. And since many survivor style games have the same sort of progression or a progression that feels less tangible, I wanted to avoid that static progression, the level the item up to X and have a particular statistical item and get an upgrade, and instead use the kind of custom build your weapons logic that Noida does. Ah, okay. Um, what you might be now, if you're looking for like a composited image, something that is like, hey, here are pictures of my cars, draw something cool with all of my cars, then you would definitely need somebody to step in for that. Um, there's Fiverr is a decent platform for finding artists for stuff like that. I don't know about the pixelation aspect of it, but there are definitely artists out there that would be capable of that. There's some really impressive sprite art. Well, pixel art. That's the goal, Cyber. I'm hoping that the custom weapon stuff is compelling. Yes. Well, I might just go in and change it so that the icon is pale by itself. No worries there, Pete. No worries. I enjoy it when people ask questions and similar. It's an opportunity to talk with everybody. Okie dokie. So we've got them drawing. We can update stuff. Okay, let's continue after a quick break. It's been about long enough. Be right back a moment, folks. And if you like what you've seen and would like to see more, remember to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Settling back in, just a moment. And I'm back. Let's see. Oh, looks like Sans has joined us. Hello, Sans. If it is posted in the Discord, Sans, I can try to watch it there. I've got a suggestion box forum for that kind of thing. Like, hey, what do you think of this kind of stuff? I generally don't do live React content. It's not to say that I never would, but I feel like there's a tricky line when it comes to online React content. Okay, what was I doing? What was I doing? Train of thought derailed. Okay, well, let's add some extra experiments here. Add positioner. I think that's the one I want. Hey there, mate. Doing okay. Alright, our positioner has not shown up. Step in. Try to get that. Oh. Did I add the icon there? Let's verify. To return. We got something. It's got an icon. Mason has swung back over to one of his preferred locales. Sky is currently alone on the pillow. Not common. Sherbet has joined me on my headrest. Okay, we clone it to return. It still has the icon. So now we're calling in to add positioner on the player inventory. We add the positioner. So positioner's IJ. We're working on the inventory system. Right now, I'm adding a positioner to our collection of weapons, and that should be adding it to the first one. Well, I appreciate it, mate, but it's not showing up in the inventory objects. Oh, well, that's why. Commit. There we go. So it's real big. You can't see the actual collection of stuff, but we can see that we've added a positioner here. Now we're going to do pretty much the same thing again. For the time being, we're going to go in, we're going to set this scale to 3, and we'll go into our inventory logic where we're setting the position and divide by 3. Like so. Okay. That's not right, though. We add positioner twice, we should be getting 2 of them in the list. We emit the change twice. We'll get 2 change emissions here. Then in the actual inventory, when that happens, we update contents. So the first time is when we add a weapon. Second time is when we add the first positioner. And the third time should be when we have added the second positioner. So, get our square texture right now. That is our mouse texture. Then we go through the positioners collection. And we're looking at that row. And we're looking at 1 plus j here. So that square is nothing. Okay, again. So we update the base one to have its mouse icon. We check this square and it should already have that. That's good. And we're done. Okay, there's part of our problem. That's our problem. There we go. Okay, we have 2 spread shots. With 2 spread shots, there's actually overlap here. Because the first one splits it into 3, then subsequently each of those 3 splits into 3 again, but the angles are such that they line up. Hello, Sans. I see that you are back. Okay, now we are going to, instead of that, we are now going to add move, get movement, spiral. Yeah, I didn't realize you weren't present. my Discord has a board for suggestions, and that can be a good place if you want just my opinion on something. Okay, so we've got the spiral now. Now, if we go into our catalog, we are going to load items. So here's our homing mouse. Just gonna duplicate you entirely. It's the homing mouse. Then yarn, string. We don't actually need weapon on these, but conventions are conventions. Happily, we have set it up so I can change that. We have a texture. Load textures. Yarn ball. Oh, okay. Rectangle. It intrinsically moves in a spiral. Call it weapon yarn ball. For consistency, no. Weapon yarn, texture yarn. We'll clean that up. Load textures. Then if we go into the game, blob loaders, clear the inventory. Okay, now we can see we have the yarn ball here. Now what we need to start doing is making it so that when I click on this, and then subsequently another one, that we're going to emit a notice to the player inventory. It's going to be a bit of a hassle. But we can see here we have the mouse moving out in threes and spiraling. Normally the mouse just fires at a random direction and moves in a straight line. That's not the end result of that, but the reason that the mouse moves in a different spiral is it also has a movement type called straight line. So it's always trying to move in a straight line in that random direction, and that distorts the spiral. Okay, so we're gonna start down that road. Going to close everything but the inventory, and then we're gonna reopen player inventory. I collapse all. Good. Okay, we need a method for swapping cells. Do a vector 2 on this. I think we should. At the moment, we're going to process this only with one special case, and that's if it is the first cell in a row. That is the weapon cell, and the weapon cells can only be swapped with other weapon cells. The reason we're doing this twice. This one is going to determine if it's possible, and if it's possible, it's actually going to do it. I want to have the check logic in here, and the actually do it logic in here, so that I don't have to duplicate the actually do it logic multiple places in the check tree. So, if source.x is equal to 0, or source.y is equal to 0, if source.y is equal to 0. Okay, if either of them are 0, both of them need to be 0, and then we can swap cells. Ember. in theory, we can operate with this as our initial test case. So, entities. Okay, there is a special case for the 0 item, and that is the weapon case. So, entities. Y. Hey there, Levi. Welcome. Okay, it's the Y. The X is just the row number, but it's if the Y is 0. Entity equal to how you doing, Levi? Sorry for the silence here. A little bit focused. So, if we're swapping the weapons, we also swap the spawn point. So we need 2 clicks to have happened before false by default. My understanding, I don't need to actually initialize these to 0, but if cell clicked, else pass. Hey there, Highway. Welcome, welcome. We're working on the inventory system in our game. So the cell is not clicked. So cell clicked is equal to true now. And source cell X cell Y destination cell. Don't need to set the destination cell yet. Inventory swap. Cell destination cell. Click, click. Nothing. X and Y is 0. Oh. True. Click. Clicked. We have a source cell. Click. Destination cell. And we swapped. It's working. It's working. Now, one of the things I may do is add a floating cell or square that is faded and is for the purpose of showing that I am in a clicked state. So we're going to add inventory square. There's no texture. And let's see. Should be a modulation option here. What is something I'm planning on adding? Like feature-wise, gameplay-wise? Feature-wise, I want to get all of these... I need a level system. You defeated X enemy, so you level up kind of thing. And an option for choosing which of these upgrades you get. There we go. And by default, it is not visible. We're going to call it the carry square. It's already full carry square as Tory square. Oh, no. Sport. Square dot visible dot texture is equal to squares x y dot as inventory square dot true. For the time being, let's switch over to our 2D layout. So tasks here. So we're starting, you see the yarn ball is by default, it's spiraling out. The mouse has been modified to have spread shot in spiral. It still has its move straight line logic, so we're getting this neat converge back in sort of spiral. More of a kind of clover leaf kind of thing. But if I click the mouse, remove that breakpoint, and I click the yarn, it swaps it, and now the mouse is back to its default. It has no modifiers. But the yarn is now doing a double spiral, so this super wide spiral with spread. I don't have the clicks for these other ones working yet, but what we're working on right now is for the inventory to track mouse movement. We can actually have this one. No, we'll do it here. Oh, carry square should be an inventory square. So we are going to actually inventory square instantiate. We're going to make the drag. Right now it's just clicking, but it's drag and drop. We're making a ghost square to follow the mouse after you've clicked the first time. So I may do a release click as well. Like a mouse up will also count as the second click. But we'll get there. So this one will be on... Let's add a process call. It's a float. So carry square position. Mouse. Just a moment. I'll look something up real quick here. Just doing some quick research here. Viewport, get mouse position. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're not. Oh, see it? Lower right corner. So it's exaggerating out though. Here it is. Now it's behind the grid itself because the cells of the grid are added after. We can actually control that though by having the grid cells be in a container. Control. It just needs to be a control. It is not actually a grid control, and we don't want it to be. Inventory. it's still behind it. Oh, that's why. Does need to be below. Okay, then we click again. Click, yarn ball, click again. It's invalid click. Okay. I was kind of hoping that but the carry square doesn't actually need to be a inventory square. And this will help us here. Hey there, Laura. How's it going, Laura? Carry square. And the carry square's visibility is by default false, and its modulation is 125. And its layout, transform, scaling is 3. Welcome back, Erebus. Oh, no. Should be inheriting the scaling of this. Doesn't have a scaling difference. What did I change that's causing that? Oh. It was scaled up. There we go. Okay. We changed this to a very simple object just so that, like, it doesn't need to be an inventory square. It doesn't have a click event. It doesn't have anything like that. Okay, so now we go into inventory and we go into our swap cells. If destination y is 0, and we're allowed to do the swap. Or either of them is 0, then both of them have to be 0. else elif. Greater than or equal to 1 and okay, no, we don't actually need to OR this, because the subsequent checks will have the same logic. Hey there, mafioso. So in this case, this is the first set. These are the positioners. So we also need if. We're going to do the same thing here, but we're going to change it to destination. Actually do the same thing here. It's greater than or equal to 6 and less than or equal to 11. No, 10. And these are movements. So we should be able to swap the positioners now. Nope. Oh, we don't have the actual swap. Then are equal to 5. Okay, positioners, movers. Equal to positioners. y minus 1 destination. This is part of the reason that I want to change the inventory layout here, so that when a grid cell is checked, we only need to do this -1. Destination to destination to source. This will be largely the same, except it is movement. Movement and a movement. Movements. 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 Movement and movement. Okay. So we click here, and we click here, swaps it, still active. Same thing. Click here, nothing happens. Okay, second click was invalid though. Are swapped as a bool, false. It's not technically true that just calling this will make it work. But so then in our inventory, when we call swap cells, if this, then this. Okay, so we click here, we click somewhere invalid. Okay, it's still not working. We need to get that invalid click. So we are going to go into our click. Okay. Click. We are not clicked, so cell clicked is true. So we set the carry cell, we make it visible, we set the source. So now we're going to click in an invalid cell. Cell is clicked. So now we're going to go into swap cells. Nothing happens. So now we're going to click in a valid cell. And we don't get the click at all. Here, click here. Oh. Let's get that. Not considering them valid. So now movements. It's two rows. This one it's not right. Which array? Which one? So it's going to go from 0 to 1, which it did. Okay, we're getting some click confusion here. Because it is eventually moving. So swap cells is not always working properly. Okay, first click, we grab it. Second click, didn't work. So we're getting numerous clicks that are failing here. First click, the cell has been clicked. We have made the rectangle visible. And we set. So now we have it. Second click. None of those clicks are coming through. thought. Plus vector 2, 5. Okay, so what was happening is that texture square was intercepting the clicks, and the reason that some of the clicks worked is that the square's position only updates on screen render, not on like input handling rate. So we moved it a little off center, and it works. So it's not under the cursor if it's adjusted even a little bit. So mouse is still spiraling. Now mouse is not spiraling. Okay. We do need to check for a mouse event on the overall canvas and unclick if it isn't on a square. Yeah, we never got to the idea of fish bones in the prior one. We don't have built-in logic for weapons that trigger a secondary effect when they go off yet. But that is distinctly possible, that built into a weapon we could have the impact, because that would be a interaction. That upon collision, it pops. Additionally, we could have an upon death interaction that we could add, that it pops and does something else. Okay, so this is a square clicked. What if the inventory itself does it have a click on an inventory grid? It has GUI input. We'd want it here, though. Hello, Sammy. I'm not paying enough attention to her. She's crying at me. Okay, so to do this, what we would do is we'd have another container object. And this is going to be the click surface. Yeah, the on-death stuff would have to be another very particular logic. I've been thinking about how to do that, but that's another thing to do. Okay, so this is the click surface, and both of these are children of the click surface. The inventory still has all of those. The click surface node needs a GUI input event. We're going to connect that in the inventory and say on click surface GUI event. And then if event is input, having to type around Sammy, and she's kind of indignant about it. Event mouse button, then clicked is equal to false. I'm going to put that there just for now. We need a click and an unclick here. Now, unclick is going to do this. So, for consistency, we're doing it this way so we can have an unclick in another spot. Sammy is, Sammy is accidentally triggering, VTube Studio buttons. No, don't do that. Okay, so now we can still click. We're not getting that event, though. Oh. Over here, we're getting it. Right over here. Hello again, Sleepyhead. Excellent. Okay, so if we click off of the grid, it goes away. If we click on the grid, it still works. If source X is less than or equal to or is less than entities size. We don't want it to be if you click on a completely invalid area on the entities list. That is, we can't click down here. And destination is less than. Yeah, the inventory is probably going to be like brought to the fore, you know? There we go. Okay, so inventory is functional today. Now, the next thing is going to be having logic for adding more of these, as well as more weapons. I would also like these inventory squares to not be visible unless their corresponding weapon is there, so it is clear that you can't touch them. Inventory square. Is a texture grid. So if we go into inventory, and when we update contents, where dot not layout, it is visibility. Color. So square is inventory square. Texture as a texture 2D. And then can't do entity. Yeah, it's right now we have a situation where only particular parts of the grid are valid to click on. What I'm working on right now is to make that more apparent, that there are spots you can't click on. Yeah, I want... Okay, this isn't really what I want here. I don't want these to be transparent. So this is updating the contents. We're going to change this. So if I is less than this, then we are going to do all of this logic, which, based on this for loop, would always be true, but instead, we're going to say for I in 6, because we want all of them. So then we have an else. J has int in 11. Square as a inventory square is equal to squares. No, we don't need to do that. Show square squares I j else. Yeah, right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the squares that we can't see. And show the squares that we can. And that square dot modulate is equal to color 1 1 1 0. If show else so we now can't see. We can still technically click them. And I do. Let's make that easier. Wouldn't want to do that the easy way. Ah, nice. So, because they're not visible, I can click through them. So, the next thing I want to do is make it so all these squares are the same things. I would also like to make it so that if I swap the weapon, that I swap the whole square. The whole row, I should say. That gives me a special case scenario so that I could make these distinct entities. But I'm less worried about that. I'd like to make this one block. And that I don't have to worry about doing this. That I can have any number of movers. I can click a blank row, a blank one. That's okay, though. It's okay. Then I can do that. Yeah. Progress. Progress. I'd like to move this towards the center. And I'd also like to make it so that these squares line up better. I could do them in reverse order so that it grows upwards. There's nothing that's really wrong with moving a weapon down. But I'll need to edit that in general. I'd also like to have a bucket for non-weapon modifiers. So I could take this spiral off and put it in a bin, essentially. Essentially one that's past this weapon row. So you'd have 10 slots like down here, or X slots down here that aren't weapons. So if I make this a special slot, I could say swap weapon. You know, weapon clicked, swap weapon. That gives me special handling for this, or the ability to have special handling. Other... Do I have any other positioners we can use? What else do I have set up in my catalog? Global, it is in the catalog, catalog code, load items. I only have move spiral and move straight line set up. Now let's add a move straight line. Let's go into our ready. On a deck, What do you mean on a deck? So we can see the mouse is moving faster right now. It's also going out a lot farther, so we're not getting that clover leaf pattern. But if I move straight line down here, now the yarn ball takes on the clover leaf, and the mouse is also taking on the clover leaf. If you pop an image of it in the Discord, I can take a look at it. Yeah. So then I put move spiral here. Now we're doing a double spiral on the yarn ball. So it's spiral, move straight line, spiral. Since yarn ball's intrinsically spiral. So we can see they go out, they do a sharp turn, and they accelerate wildly there. If I swap these two, we get a kind of a tighter circle in. Now, mouse is no longer spiraling, so we add another move straight line to it. That doubles the speed of the mouse. We can add the spread shot to it. Now we have the triple. Make the mouse spiral. It's now doing a double fast spiral. So it's mostly moving in a straight line. So the spiral is heavily distorted. Yes, the order and the effect of each modifier will change the behavior of the projectiles, but the projectiles have intrinsic behavior. Like with no modifiers, the yarn ball moves in this spiral here. So long term, what we want to get is one, progressive enemy threat. I only have a test enemy in place right now, which is the little blobby guys. Let's put them in place again. Let's add blobs. We're going to add one blob spawner. So right now, these the weapons don't do as much damage as the blobs can. Now we can see some of the hitbox of the mouse is such that it can punch through some of them. It's set to pierce right now. It won't long term. So if we want here, we can give ourselves 2 mice and 2 yarn balls. I'm going to make this yarn ball double fast. This mouse moves in a spread. And we're going to change the blobs to have an interval of 1. Twice a second. 4 times a second. blobs take 2 hits from any of these projectiles the way they're set up right now. If I had to choose, well, the homing mouse isn't doing what it's ultimately going to do, and that's the homing mouse will pick the closest monster or a random monster, haven't decided, and it will home in on it. It's probably going to be it constantly reacquires a target to be the closest monster. I don't know how intensive that's going to be. I might have to do a collision check each time in a tight circle around the player to find the closest monster, but it might just be easier to scan the whole collection of monsters that exist. Just give one a second so we can really see it. Make 3 of these yarn balls. We'll make these mice really fast. This yarn ball is faster. Hey there, Canicus. We are showing the inventory system at work. We have 4 different weapons, and we have 3 modifiers available to add to them. And we can hot swap things around right now. So I'm making a faster... Let's only make 1 of each of these weapons for clarity. Every 2 seconds we'll add a blob. Yeah, let's just turn off the blob spawner. Okay, so right now, what we have is a... Thinking. Right now, what we've got is we have a mouse weapon and a yarn ball weapon. The mouse weapon, by its nature, aims in a random direction and moves in a straight line. The yarn ball, by its nature, moves in a spiral. So the mouse is currently modified with a triple shot, a spiral, and a move in a straight line. So we're getting this wide arc that culminates in a sharp turn and a movement into a different spiral pattern. But we can change that by saying, hey, make the yarn ball move faster. So we can see that now it has like a cloverleaf pattern. Or we can say, move faster in spiral. So we're going to get a very different spiral starting here. Neat, huh? Is there going to be a melee weapon? There might be a really close range weapon that lives for a very short period of time. I mean, I guess they wanted, perhaps Canicus, if they asked for 4 quarter pounders, what they actually wanted is a 1 pound burger, but that wasn't on your menu. Exactly, Lore. We have Noida wand building in Vampire Survivors. That is what we're going for. Noida wand building in Vampire Survivors. So take something, move it, and it changes the behavior of that projectile. Mouse moves faster, 1 mouse at a time, but now 3 yarn balls at a time. Neat, huh? I am building it, Canicus, so it's mobile capable, but it's probably not going to start on mobile because releasing things on mobile is much harder than releasing things on like Steam. So the next thing that I want to do is, one, spread out the number of items so I have more of my modifiers represented and more of the weapon possibilities represented. So I can toy with that a little more. I'd like to change the inventory so that the weapon slots are a special case in general, and that these slots are all the same thing. So I could move the mover over here and it won't matter. One of the differences with Noita is projectiles are fixed. We can't move the projectile down the feed because it's not that the wand is like a wand firing in sequence. It's one shot all at once. I do want to have a triggering mechanism, like when this projectile hits something, maybe it will emit this other projectile. So I might have 3 yarn balls and each one that hits emits a mouse. Kind of thing. That will probably be a later thing. That will probably be a later thing. But I like it. We've got progress now. We've got progress now. We'll see how we do. We're right about wrap up, so... Blup. Yeah, we got inventory working today, folks. And while I'm talking about this, I'm going to save. We're going to commit to the repo. Don't want to forget that. I have lost entire days of progress before because I did not commit to source control. But yeah, inventory's working. There's got to be a way that we increase damage. There needs to be more ways to change the movement around and more ways to spawn them. We're ultimately going to need those trigger cases where, every so often while it flies or when it hits, that kind of thing. We also need to have some trade-offs. Like, the more it's modified, the stronger it gets, but it might fire more slowly if you stack extra projectiles on it. Those kind of things. But ultimately, I want more upgrades to mean more powerful. So any sort of trade-offs are going to be in your favor. +2, -1 kind of stuff. At most. But yeah. Good progress today. I want to thank everybody for coming and watching with us. I hope you had a good time. If you did and you haven't already, consider liking, following, subscribing, whatever it is on the platform that you're watching through. Or multiple platforms. I'm on Twitch and YouTube. You could do all of them. It does help the channel grow, and it will help you find my streams and the like. If you aren't getting notifications, make sure, for YouTube, make sure that the little bell is active. On Twitch, it should be automatic. With all that said, thank you all again for joining us, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Goodbye, everyone.